Welcome to the 2011 season of Cooking with Kiser. Whether you call them short stacks, flapjacks, add chocolate chips, or blueberries, pancakes are a great way to break the fast in the morning and give you a healthy start for your day. So today, what we're going to be making, obviously, is pancakes. Very simple, and we aren't going to be using the box mix. Although Aunt Jemima has done us years of good, we are going to be making them from scratch. Again, it's a very simple recipe, and we will get started after we do some of our basics. Make sure that we get our hands washed, our hair pulled back, and get our apron put on. Come on. All right, so we're out at our sink. We're going to try to be as safe and sanitary as possible. So first I'm going to go ahead and pull my hair back. I'm going to get my hands washed, but first I'm going to pull up my sleeves to get them out of my way. Since I'm not really wearing any big jewelry, it's all right. I don't have to take off what I have on. If I was wearing anything big or dangly or anything that could get into the food, I definitely would want to use that precaution. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wash our hands. Make sure that your water is warm. Get them good and soaked up. All of these steps should just be routine with you by now, since we've been doing it in our labs all along. Go ahead and get those washed. We'll use a paper towel to dry. Then we're going to put on our apron and get ready to start making our recipe. The recipe that we are getting our pancakes from is actually from the Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. It's that iconic red and white plaid cookbook that you've probably seen in the hutch over in the room. So we will go ahead and get our apron on, read through our recipe first. Very important that we read through our recipe and understand what all we are required to do for that. And then we are going to go ahead and start making. Yum, yum. So reading through our recipe, the first thing that it tells us to do is it says sift together flour, granulated sugar, baking powder, and half of a teaspoon of salt. You'll see at the top of your recipe as you're reading it that it does not list salt. But since we have learned how to read a recipe, we're responsible cooks in the kitchen, we know that we need to read through our recipe to make sure that it doesn't list anything that we maybe haven't caught. Okay, so we are going to sift together then our flour, our granulated sugar, our baking powder, and our half teaspoon of salt now. So it looks like we need 1 1/4 cups all-purpose flour. So we're going to go ahead and spoon that into our measuring cup. I actually did not have a 1 cup measuring cup clean. So what I'm doing instead is I'm using a 3/4 cup, and then I'm going to add 2 1/4 cups to my mixture. Something else that you could do instead of adding 2 1/4 cups is you could always add 2/4 or 1/2 cup. So there's my 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to go ahead and add that into my sifter. Okay, and then I have my 1/4 cup that I'm going to use as well. Again, I will spoon my flour into my 1/4 cup measuring cup, and then we're going to use our straight edge metal spatula to go ahead and make sure that it's a good even measurement. We need 1 more of these, and then we'll be done with our flour. Probably all of us at some point in time or another have made pancakes from maybe a box, like a box of Bisquick or a box of Aunt Jemima, like we were talking about earlier, or Hungry Jack. A lot of them just require that you add water, but we are doing it the old-fashioned way, probably the way that maybe our grandparents had done it, and we're going to do it from scratch, like I was saying earlier. Okay, we need to go ahead and add our sugar, which we need 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. So I have my tablespoon here that I've been using as my spoon for my flour, and it should be just fine. Just make sure you knock off any of that extra flour. Okay, we're going to move some of our things around. Since we are done with our flour, we can go ahead and put our lid to our canister back on there. I just love these canisters. They're so cool. They have these fun little pop things on the top of them. And we'll get our sugar moved over here. Again, like I said, we need 2 tablespoons. So we'll give it a good scoop. And then we'll even it out with our straight edge metal spatula and add that to our sifter as well. There we go. So we've added our sugar to our sifter, so now we need to continue on with our 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So our little TSP of baking powder. You probably can hear my lovely pups outside. They're enjoying the nice weather. See, and my baking powder also has this really nice little lip on it that I've showed you before in your kitchens, which is nice. It's good for measurement. Because then we know that we need 2 teaspoons. So we'll take it and we'll add it directly to our sifter again, because we're going to sift all those ingredients together. We're going to add that air and we're going to help to incorporate all of them together. Okay? So again, we can put our lid back on our baking powder, put it to the side, put our lid back on our sugar, and put it to the side as well. All right, now we need our ½ teaspoon of salt. So we have our ½ teaspoon here, we have our salt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it over one of the measuring cups that we used earlier instead of measuring it over my sifter. Why do you think that's probably a good idea? Because I could potentially overfill my my ½ teaspoon measurement, and then we would have extra salt that we wouldn't be able to take out of our already previously measured ingredients. Okay, so we'll add that to that, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to sift this, incorporate that air, get it all mixed together, and then we'll be ready for our next step. So I'm going to go ahead and sift this, and then I'll be right back. So I have my ingredients all sifted together. And what am I going to do with my sifter? Make sure that you don't put this in the water. What you need to do, since all that you used it for was your dry ingredients, is make sure you just wipe it out with a clean paper towel, and then you can put this right back in your cabinet, so that way we don't rust or ruin any of our sifters. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this out real quick, and then I'll come back and we'll move on to our next step in our recipe. The next step of our recipe says to combine egg, milk, and oil, add all at once to our flour mixture. Okay, our egg needs to be beaten. So first of all, that doesn't mean we're going to punch our egg, right? What we're going to do is we're going to get our egg, we're going to crack it into a small bowl, which I'll move this out of the way. We're going to crack it into a small bowl so that we can beat this, okay? So you may want to have the person who's the most confident at egg cracking do that. Then we're going to go ahead and just toss this in the trash. All right, what we're going to do in order to beat our egg is we need to get just a fork, and what you're going to do is just with a wrist motion, you're going to beat your egg. Okay, you're getting that yolk combined with the white of your egg. All right, so we have that all beaten together. We just need 1 egg. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my hot soapy dishwater because we won't be needing this fork again. All right, we need 1 cup of milk. So I've got my organic fat-free milk here. This is what I use at home. And I'm going to go ahead and measure my 1 cup. We want to make sure that we measure at eye level. So I will do that quickly. We look good at 1 cup. So we have these 2 measured out, and then we also need to get 1 tablespoon of cooking oil, which we have right here. So what I'm going to do with this, since we're supposed to add them all at once, is I'm going to go ahead and measure out my oil. Make sure that you don't over measure. Okay, good. We have 1 tablespoon exactly. I'm going to go ahead and put that in with my egg, since we're adding them all together. Okay, and we are done with our measuring spoon, so I'm going to go ahead and walk this over to the sink as well. All right, so now all at once what we need to do is we need to add in our milk and our eggs to our flour mixture. So we will add those in at once. I like to use a wire whisk just because it's pretty simple to kind of keep that air in your mixture, not make it real dense, and it also doesn't stick really badly to your mixture doesn't stick, batter doesn't stick real bad to your whisk. Batter doesn't stick bad. All right. Anyway, go ahead and put the lid back on our oil. That could be a huge disaster. All right, we're going to go ahead and mix this all together. What it says to do is mix just until all of your flour is moistened. All right, it actually says right here, stirring until blended, but still slightly lumpy. Okay, so it's okay if we have some lumps. We're just going to kind of try to get it all mixed together. Until it's all good and combined. So we can see that looks like perfect, delicious, wonderful pancake batter. Who would have thought you could do it all by yourself? All right. Giving Aunt Jemima a run for her money. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start heating our griddle, which I'll show you what kind of griddle pan we're going to use. We're going to heat that, and we're going to use about 1/4 cup measurements of our batter at a time onto our griddle, and we'll be able to start making our pancakes. So we'll be right back. The pan that we're going to be using for our pancakes, our pancake pan, is going to be a flat griddle pan. Okay, very thin, very flat, which you all will have in your kitchens. You probably haven't seen these before because I'm planning on getting you some new pans for those kitchens. But what we're going to do is this needs to be lightly greased, so we're going to use our cooking spray. We're going to give it just a quick little shot of some of that cooking spray, and that should be good for our pancakes. The only tools that you're going to need for this part of your lab is you're going to need a spatula, which I would suggest also spraying this with some cooking spray once you're ready to flip your pancakes. You're going to need your 1/4 cup measuring cup, which we used this earlier, but we made sure we went ahead and washed it. And then you're going to need obviously, your pancake batter. So we're going to go ahead and get our griddle heated. About medium-high heat is probably good. And you want to wait till it gets a little bit hot before you go ahead and put your pancake batter on there. So we're going to give it probably just another, 20 seconds or so. When you're ready to go ahead and start your pancakes, you're going to scoop up your 1/4 cup, and you're just going to go ahead and pour that onto your griddle pan. With the size of our griddle pans, we can probably do 2 pancakes at once, or flapjacks, or whatever you might prefer to call them. Those will get nice and spread out. And then how do we know that our pancakes are ready to be flipped? It's a pretty good question, and everyone kind of has their own methods. But the best way to know that your pancakes are ready to be flipped is when you see the bubbles start to rise to the surface of your pancake and they start to kind of stick there. Okay, that's when you'll know that that other side is getting to be that nice, tasty golden brown. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this batter, and then we'll come back and we'll have our delicious pancakes ready. Just a little side note for you. I know that all of you probably have some kind of funky method to use when you're deciding to flip your pancakes, but let's not try to be like the people at the pancake houses and such, okay? Unless you work at IHOP and you know exactly how to just flip them in a pan, you can go for it. But other than that, let's just try to use our traditional spatula and do the best that we can to try to get them to look semi-normal pancake-like. Okay. Our pancakes are done, which the first batch, these are not going to turn as golden as some of your pancakes might. if you got it from a batter like Bisquick or something like that. But they still will be very, very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and transfer them to a plate. Okay. I believe that this mix should make around 8 to 10 pancakes, just depending on the size that you make. So we will have enough for everyone in our group to at least try some pancakes. And there's probably going to be some people that don't want pancakes, which is just fine. But we will have enough for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, like I said, and then we will have all of our pancakes done and we'll be ready to eat. So now we've got all of our pancakes cooked and we're ready to go ahead and eat them. They're beautiful golden brown, perfect with a little bit of syrup and some butter. Thanks again for watching Cooking with Kiser. I hope you had as much fun as I did, and enjoy your flapjacks. Break that fast with some pancakes.